Good afternoon, everybody. If you are tuning in from the East Coast, if you're on the West Coast, it is still morning, so make the most of it. I am Rob Mann, your co-host for Tuesday at 2. With me, I have the impeccably dressed, but also the creator of that fine intro, which had my head bumping, Mr. Tim Walker. Tim, what's going on, brother?
Hey, Rob. Man, I think we need to add the other time zone counters on that intro video there. Nobody gets confused.
I like the way it is. Let's not change anything. It was beautiful.
Okay.
I was very excited when I saw it this morning for the first time.
Thank you.
All right, Tim. So we didn't actually. So we're kind of recapping what we did last week. Was we talked about the reason why we called it Tuesday at 2, which is because that's the number one time that people view submissions, according to our data and platform for the last 3 or 4 years, on desktop. And the reason I say desktop is because today we want to talk about this idea of possibly submitting candidates through a mobile device and the benefits, or should we do that? So Tim, you want to kind of jump in and start to kind of like walk us through the potential of this, I guess?
Yeah. And
of it, both? Either or?
Yeah, and I think it's important to point out because texting can be scary, I think, and I say that, and maybe you might say that we're the same age, but my wife always kids me because when we first started dating, I didn't have text messaging on my phone, and I had to pay like 25 cents per text message.
Oh God!
I was paying a lot in those early days there, and so I got my first texting plan. Because
when those were separate. Oh my God, that wasn't that long ago.
So anyway. It wasn't that long ago. Yeah, that's the way I like to think about it, at least. But I think that that there's a lot of potential advantages to texting. But maybe the first thing we want to ask is, are you texting resumes, dude? Yeah. Is that something that you've ever thought about in your?
Please comment if you are, or send us a message.
So. Yeah, for whatever reason, I think it's something that a lot of companies have overlooked, maybe, and maybe what the potential is there. And probably the first reason is it's hard to text a PDF file, right? And so, are you maybe the first question is, are you communicating with your managers or your clients via text message? And that's the starting point. And I think one thing to think about. Potentially those of you out there that are in industries that work with manufacturing, industrial, medical, a lot of times your hiring managers, in particular, the HR person might be sitting at a desk, but that hiring manager, they're out on a floor or in a hospital or something all day, and they don't have time to sit down at their desk, or maybe they share a workstation and review resumes.
Yeah. And, I think there's a lot, right? Like all of these, everything. We don't need to go through each one of these. You're more than capable of reading it, right? But you just I think it's like being empathetic, right? Like having a high situational awareness of the customer and talking to them and understanding if this makes sense. And then later in the deck, conversation, we'll have some ideas about how to get permission to do this. But yeah, we don't need, I think like, just think about, put yourself in the shoes of that person. And if that person's on a factory floor, or if that nurse is on a floor with a tablet, sending a PDF may not be the best thing. So anyway, all right, let's keep moving though.
Okay, so last time we talked about the top days and times according to our data for reviewing resumes. So here are the 10 times, and it's Tuesday afternoons, Thursday afternoons. This is the most popular time for a client or for a manager to review a resume. That's for all resumes combined. But if we actually split that out, that's desktop and mobile. But if we split out mobile only, some interesting things happen. So I've highlighted in yellow here the differences. And as you can see, the top time for reviewing resumes on mobile devices is 5:00 p.m.
Hopefully people are not texting or reviewing resumes and driving.
I like to think they're on a train commuting or something like that. Maybe.
I like them. I like the train life. Go ahead, keep going.
Yeah. 6 p.m., 7 p.m. at night. So those 30% of all of our mobile views come between 5 and 7 p.m. at night. And so that speaks to this idea that, I mean, we all know this, right? Everybody works out of hours. Everybody's working all the time.
Yeah.
If
They're
you
reviewing that resume when they're sitting on the couch thinking about stuff they need to do later that week or tomorrow.
Yeah, or when they get home, or after dinner, and if they don't have a way to do that easily, they're just not going to do it until the next day, and that may be too late.
Your candidate is now just one of the pack when it could have stood out.
Exactly. Yeah, and so I think what's really interesting when we talk about email versus texting, I think we can learn, or we can glean something from email marketing, which has been using texting for a long time. And what they found is that SMS or text open rates are 98%. It doesn't get much better than that, when we're talking about a margin of error. And they also have a lot lower spam reports, a lot higher click-through rates, and obviously those response times or review times for a text message is a lot higher than an email, for all of the reasons I think we just covered, right?
Now, this data is super compelling, but guys, we're not telling you to just willy-nilly send all your submissions through text message because of the success rate. I just want to give a disclaimer. So, and here's why. Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, I think that's really important, because in the way that we normally talk to customers about texting resumes is the first thing I'll always ask them is, do you have a texting relationship with this manager? If you already do, then text them, right? If you're texting them about other things, why aren't you just texting them your submissions and their resumes too? Even if it's in conjunction. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead. I think you're going to answer my question.
Even in conjunction with other things that you're doing, right? You just had a meeting with them, or you just sent them an email submission. Follow up with the text.
I was going to say the email submission part, I think you still need to send it via email for tracking purposes, like CYA purposes, like anything. Most people live their life through their inbox, right? And they might get tracked somewhere else automatically. So don't make their life difficult. You could send it both ways if you get permission. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, and there's no harm in sending it both ways. I think people are used to that at this point. At this point, even up to a few years ago, anecdotally for me, I felt weird getting automated text messages or marketing text, but now it's just normal.
Yeah, I like it. I enjoy it. I love when someone like committing a service at my house, like an AC guy, they have their picture, they have like a little bit of background and bio, how many years they've been doing this, how many years they've been with that company, right? Like, and there's a photo of that person. So when they come to your house, it's such a nice touch. So I'm a big fan of that. The dentist does it now. Like, why can't staffing companies?
Yeah, and something to highlight here, I think, which would typically be a detractor or a downside to texting versus emailing, is that you don't have as good or as compelling of data tracking with texting, right? Because with emails, everyone's used to response rates and click-through rates and things like that. But if you're texting resumes, 3DIQ resumes, profiles, you get all of the tracking built into the link that you're sending to the client. So you get the best of both worlds.
Data quality by using the text, you're keeping it. So if we're sending a link, you lose data quality if you send a PDF. Let's be honest, unless your recruiters are really good about manually entering data. But this idea of having us send it or anyone send it for you as a link, we get all that tracking and do all that busy work for you anyway. So it makes sense.
Yeah, a few tips here. I think we've already covered a lot of these, but having a relationship first. Get permission. If you don't, have a relationship, and then text with them normally. Give them a reason, right? So you want to not just be texting them out of the blue, right? If you just had a meeting with them, if you just submitted a candidate to them, that's a good opportunity to text them as well, because that's going to get, as we saw in a couple slides ago, that's where your potential for really quick response rates and really quick interaction with your candidates will be.
So Tim, are you going to, number 3, are you going to be brief?
Let's be brief. Let's
Okay.
be brief. And that's all I'll say.
Yeah, because it's
brief. Be casual when you're being brief.
Ooh, okay.
Text messaging lends itself to being more conversational and casual, so you don't have to type an email. in
Hey
your
Tim, I
text
just
message.
sent you a submission on via email, but it's a really good candidate. I want to make sure you see it first because this guy's going to go quickly, or girl. Check it out.
And throw in an emoji or two.
Please don't throw in an emoji unless you don't really
No, I
want.
was
Maybe throw in a GIF. You could GIF them or meme them. All right,
give him, yeah.
give them a
And
meme
then,
drop.
yeah, I mean, I was serious about that. I think people are. I think people are used to emojis now as a way to communicate emotion, and I think
We're
they're
putting
not
emojis
just
in our
for.
blogs.
That's right. Yeah, they're not just for preteens anymore. They're for anybody.
Love a good emoji. And then finally,
Yeah, I think very compelling here potentially is, and I think there's been a very high adoption in the last couple of years of texting platforms integrated into Bullhorn, for example.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of very prominent texting. TextUs would be one. Partners out there that do texting, and that gives you the ability to text right from your desktop, right? And so there's no need to even grab a link. You just take it right out of 3DIQ and paste it into your text message that you're sending to your client, and it
all
really,
from your desktop.
all from your desktop, right? And it doesn't get any easier than that.
Yeah. So after you watch this, let us know, are you texting? And Tim, I appreciate you.
And I am texting.
You're going to text me right now?
Yeah, emojis.
Sweet. All right. If it's on a rocket, I don't want to see it. All right, buddy. Thanks, Tim.
All
Thanks,
right.
everybody. Let us know in the comments if you are texting and what the results are. Cheers.